The number one thing is this grind mindset. I think it's really toxic. I think you're really destroying your own experience as a human. And like all of my best ideas have come from actually disconnecting, going into nature. And those are the high leverage, matter more than 10th hour of work and your fourth coffee of the day.
Welcome to the Journey podcast. This is a podcast that I host and where I invite inspiring entrepreneurs to share about their incredible and often crazy journeys, because you often see the success, you see what's happening with your eyes, but you don't see what's happening behind the curtains, what's happening in their lives and in their minds. And I ask the questions so we can discover this interesting way of thinking that entrepreneurs and high performers have, in my opinion. And today we have a special guest. We haven't met. This is the first time we meet. Bro. And more open than this, more authentic than this, it's not going to happen. And is Tom Strickland. And I know he's a very creative entrepreneur. He organizes very cool trips. He's a creative mind. He's connected with a lot of friends of mine. I saw it. And we're here to discover who he is, what he does, how he thinks, and we want to share some valuable lessons that you can apply in your entrepreneurial journey. What that is, you'll discover, but thank you for coming.
Firstly, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
This is a nice setup. We're going to get to know each other.
Exactly.
I like it.
Yeah.
Basically, to give a quick rundown of my story, came to Bali 4 years ago, met my best friend, business partner. We started a company called Raw Global. We do international trips for entrepreneurs. We've since started a network in Bali for the top founders in Bali. We have a network of events and experiences and shared living that we do for people in Bali. And my vision is to take, entrepreneurs that are stuck in the grind mindset, get them out in the real world, connect through people, connect through experiences, because at the end of the day, life is short and you have to live while we're here. So that's what I try to inspire people to do, encourage people to do as much as possible, and enjoy the ride.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I saw your bio and it's live a little.
Yep, sure. Exactly.
Often entrepreneurs forget to live.
I think so.
Building all the time.
Exactly. I think so often the hustle culture, the grind mindset, the lock-in mindset is great. But I think what happens a lot is that the over focusing on grinding all the time hurts productivity ultimately and hurts you reaching your end goals. And what I encourage a lot of people to do is start with the end goal in mind. So know what you want to get out of life and make sure that you're living in occurrence to that.
Yeah.
And the grind mindset that I find is you can often get burnt out and you actually start becoming less productive. What I try to build environments that build you up in different ways. So for example, we do shared living houses where everyone's living together. And instead of, working endlessly at your laptop, you work really hard. Everyone around you is working hard, which inspires you. But then at lunch, you put the computers down, you let your brain reset, you discuss business. And quite often those are the most highest productive points in the day, because you're sharing insights about where you're stuck. And then you have guys that are ahead of you in business that can just solve it instantly. So my point with that is there's a smarter way to do things, and often grinding endlessly isn't the best way to do it. And I just try to encourage people to do that. Yeah.
Okay. You dive deep quickly. I like it. It sounds like as you know the work I do?
A little bit, but I would love a recap, especially for the audience and everything.
Yeah, in short, because I recognize a lot about the burnout. And so I'm a hypnotherapist for high level entrepreneurs and high performers and actors, athletes. Yeah. And so I work with their subconscious mind, and often they learn to work hard and to feel good and to make it happen. And often it's things from the past. Yeah. And then they find themselves in a place that they feel super empty, have a lot of money, and they don't enjoy life. Yeah. Whatever that means to them, they don't have a meaning for it because they don't do it. Yeah. And so I like the creative part, the creative brain. I activate the parts in the mind that help them make more money, feel more fulfilled, and actually feel more peace, because I checked you for the last few weeks, I think. Yeah. And I see that people are very relaxed and smiling a lot, and it's not fake, and then you guys are productive with a great view. And I'm this is a great, there's no 50-50 balance in my opinion, but this is a good balance. Yeah. Before we dive into it, I saw something interesting, because I don't do a big research because I want to get to know you on a deeper level here. It's the best way. Yeah. And I like it for the people here that are listening or watching. But, and I'm going to show it because I really, really liked what I saw. And I saw it this morning, actually. and I'm very curious about it. So I've sent it.
I'm curious right now. What is it?
I get it
up right now.
I've sent it. I'm on my phone for a good reason. So I'm gonna walk to the camera.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna show something.
Oh shit!
So here's a picture.
Oh.
Little Tom, 2017, and he is one of the two guys that are like white.
Oh, where did you find this?
Your Instagram.
Ah, okay.
So I like to see where people come from. Where start.
But that's my first post ever or something like that.
Yeah, your first. And 2017, 2003, Olsh International School, grade 3. And you're smiling. And between Africa? It's in Africa? Where is it?
No, this is in Papua New Guinea.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, it started early for me, I would say. And I had quite an unorthodox upbringing. My parents raised me in Papua New Guinea, which is, for those of you that don't know, one of the most remote countries in the world. Sometimes you hear on the news like, oh, they discovered tribes that they'd never discovered before. It's always in Papua New Guinea. It's just like a very lost place. And my parents are very interesting people, and they decided to give us an interesting upbringing. They would raise us for some years in Papua New Guinea. And I think that's where I learned a lot of my early beliefs. My worldview came from that beginning. It was a very simple life. We grew up on an island. We were the only white family, but every day after school, it was just the simple life. All the kids would come play in our backyard. We'd go spearfishing, swimming. It was actually the event of World War II. There were big fights that happened on that island that we were on. So in our backyard, we had these underground bunkers, we had unexploded bombs, we had tanks, downed planes. So it was like living in this like fantasy land, like Neverland basically. And we would run around and play in this environment. And I think what that taught me more than anything is basically how simple life should be. Like when I see these island nations, how life has been for forever, I see it so in line with our personal biology of how we're meant to live. And because I have that insight, I feel like it's so easy for me to pull people back to a place of happiness, because I can just show them that, hey guys, let's get out in nature. Let's reconnect with people like in the old days, like in the tribe. Like there's this study they've done, right? That you can't remember more than 150 people's in a close proximity. I think after like 300 people, and they do studies on this, you can't physically remember the people and keep a close contact with over 300 people. And I think that's your biology is trying to tell you something there. It's like, it's the way that humans have always kind of designed to live, is in like 150, 300 people tribes. And I think like living in accordance with that, like as a child, I realized that, yeah, it's kind of the way your biology is meant to be, you know, close knit, around people, experience first. And because of that, I think I've had an advantage with that knowledge to take burnt out entrepreneurs, like we talked about in the beginning, pull them into these environments and watch them come alive again. And it doesn't take much. Like it's not a crazy concept, but like put your phone down, go out into nature for a few days, spend it around good people. Oh my God, you feel amazing. Like what a coincidence.
Okay. Yeah, that was I was curious about the story behind
Well, there you go. That's the story.
That's beautiful. And how so it intrigues me in a way because for example, my best friend since 14 years, he's from Ghana, and then he explains to me how they live, and he's so happy there. Yeah. He lives in Holland, actually, great business owner. And then he walks outside, get his pineapple, very fresh, eats it. And then it's like super simple life. Yeah. And so different than here, but he feels so alive there. So what you said beliefs and what kind of beliefs did it gave you and values at a young age? Because you grew up very different, and also makes sense to me. I was curious about the adventurous side. It always comes from somewhere. Yeah. You believe this is
big time. Like I think obviously at that environment, I grew up feeling being very comfortable, feeling uncomfortable, if that makes sense, which then led, as soon as I turned 18, I started traveling the world, bought a one-way ticket and just traveled nonstop. And that's because I think I was just, comfortable in uncomfortable environments. But what you touched on there in Africa is interesting, because basically what you see a lot is like, I think this is what you're saying, like he's living a very simple life, but at the end of the day, you look around, everyone's smiling, everyone's happy. And this happened like a month ago. I was on a boat back in Papua actually, but on the Indonesian side in Raja Ampat. Beautiful destination, beautiful trip we've done a few times. And I remember one of the last nights we did a bonfire on the beach, and we had set up a dinner on the beach, And all these local kids were like coming out and like playing on the island. And they were like playing with us. And it was so cool watching our group of Westerners like light up with these young kids. And they just kept saying like, they just seem so happy, and they don't have anything and they seem so happy. And for them, that was a surprising thing. For me, that was an obvious thing. Of course they're happy. They're just living. Yeah. You know, what are you going to do? Get rich, buy a villa on the beach so you can, you know, be on the beach and be happy? Or these guys just already live like that by default. And they're always connected to each other. They're always sharing experiences. And yeah.
I think that's an interesting lesson, because you are also very into the business side.
That's true. That's true.
So so I have two questions about it. First of all is what do you believe personally is a very, I wouldn't say wrong, but a belief that entrepreneurs have that really destroys them?
Yeah, I think
can destroy them.
Yeah, I think the number one thing is this grind mindset. I think it's really toxic. I think you're really destroying your own experience as a human, and like what, if you believe in God or whatever, like what we were kind of put here for. It's definitely not endlessly grinding to the point of your body failing and you know, basically becoming sick from work. That said, I often say like the ability, like when you get older and wiser, you can quite often like hold two opposing views at the same time and understand they're completely opposites, but hold them both at the same time, if that makes sense. And I think that's what wisdom is, because not everything is so cut and dry. I personally am on an entrepreneurial journey, and that's because I have a vision, a desire to do a lot and make the most of this life. And yeah, for me, that means like proving to myself in an entrepreneurial sense, like what I can achieve. So I do work really, really hard. I overwork probably. And I don't always live in accordance with like, hey, just go on the island and chill out. Like, I think the human spirit needs connection to nature, but it also needs fulfillment. And fulfillment comes from accomplishing things and adding value to society at the end of the day.
Okay. And so what you see is the grind mindset that burns them out.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, for me, that's kind of obvious. Again, like these modern tropes like depression and stuff like that. And I know it's, you know, not politically correct to say it, but for me, like depression is quite an obvious symptom of just living out of the way that humans are meant to live. Like, for example, you're working in a cubicle, you're under LED lights flickering all the time. You're coming home, you're scrolling on a screen. Like the human body is going to feel depressed in that state. But again, I felt like I had the cheat code to life at, you know, my whole life, because it's just like take people out of that environment, take them into nature, give them sun, give them people, give them connection. Oh my God, the depression went away.
Yeah.
And I think like modern psychology and stuff like that will try to like hyper intellectualize everything. And then you're creating drugs that will address these symptoms. And
money.
And really, I shouldn't talk about this because I know nothing about it. And I know there are a lot of complicated health reasons for all this stuff. However, I think, you know, if you want the simple blueprint, just look back how humans have existed forever. Because that's a good guide.
Yeah, I can't disagree. But the people who won't agree probably haven't been in nature enough.
Yeah.
Because if you do, you can feel it.
You feel it instantly.
It's less rational mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all of my best ideas have come from actually disconnecting, going into nature, getting somewhere with a big view, and then you suddenly hit with inspiration. And those are the high leverage thoughts that, you know, matter more than the individual decisions you're making on your 10th hour of work and your 4th coffee of the day.
I so agree. You know, there was a research with a rapper, for example, and he needed to write a certain rap song and strict guidelines. So he had to think way more about it. And then one track he was able to make was like out of flow, and they measured his brain, and with like clear structures, he felt more stress. Wow. And the other one, he felt more flow. So his default mode network was more on, and like less stress is more peace, or whatever you want to call it. So they test this actually.
Yeah.
And also with like connection and like mices, that they take drugs faster when they feel alone. Yeah. So, and then they isolated in like a 2x2 room, doing something you don't like psychology says you need to fulfill your autonomy also. And if you feel like you have no choice. So I like what you do, and I'm more interested in why. So tell me about the second question actually is that what made you start? Like, tell me about your start. So you grew up in Papua New Guinea. It's interesting. I saw it on television like 10 years ago because the tribes are there.
Exactly.
It was on television. It was a super famous thing in Holland.
Yeah.
And that they sent Dutch people to it.
Yeah.
And and then live with them. It was an amazing thing. Okay. They were like in shock of the culture, but it was super cool to watch.
Wow.
Cool. That's why I remember the name.
Yeah.
And so you grew up there, and then tell me about the time between when you grew up until you started your journey, and why did you start it?
Well, obviously it's a long lifetime, many chapters in there. I think an interesting one is, well, I'm Australian. So after Papua New Guinea, I went back to Australia. I had a pretty normal upbringing in a high school in Australia. And then when I turned basically 20, I knew that I wanted to get out of Australia. I wanted to start traveling. I felt something inside me like calling me to do that. And basically for 6-7 years straight, I traveled endlessly, like never more than 1 month in a location. And I found that was amazing, like experience-wise. I got to see so much of the world, traveled to 60 countries, all of 60. These things. 60, yeah. And it was amazing. Like I overlived my 20s, if that's even possible. But in doing all that, and the thing I was chasing or running from the whole time was this belief that when you're in a routine, time goes faster and faster. Like, I don't know if you've noticed that, but when you're living the same day, I've only had one real job in my life. And I remember that job, the first month was really long. You're taking in so much information. And then the next 6 months felt like the first month. And I was watching time fly by faster and faster. And that scared the shit out of me because I was like, I'm going to wake up one day and be 30. So I was like, I got to get out. I resigned the next day. I sold everything I owned and I bought a one-way ticket to Bali. This was in 2017.
Wow.
That kicked off the journey. I had no idea how I was going to make it, but I just started doing travel documentary and I ended up traveling basically for the next 6 years. Again, never spending more than 1 month in a location. But then I found that after all this time of like running, I found it was like very inefficient to get anything done. Surprise, surprise. And I was like, I actually kind of felt like a failure in that because I hadn't built anything of value. You'd move to a new city, you'd kind of just get in a routine, find a gym, spend the first week like getting around, making a new social circle. And that I told myself I'm the traveler, so that's how I live. But then I got to a point where I was kind of burnt out from traveling and something just told me to like slow down. I arrived to Bali for a documentary project. And then that's just when I decided, look, I'm just going to stop traveling. I met my business partner a month later, and then we started doing our first project together, Raw. And my life just transformed hugely after doing that.
So 60 countries.
Yeah.
In your 20s.
Yeah.
You were, every month you were in a place.
Yeah, pretty much.
What have you learned next to that you cannot really ground if you're there for 4 weeks? So that's something you.
Yeah, that was a big lesson.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah. Your body needs to get away.
Yeah, because I was actively anti-routine. I said routine is the enemy of life. You're going to start turning into a robot. You never think. But then it wasn't until I hit a burnout point and I felt, wait, I feel like a failure because I don't have a routine. And then I understood that routine was like the secret to actually accomplishing a lot. So now I use routine, but still try to live, live as much as I can by going on trips and experiences and stuff like that.
Well, what is your philosophy behind routine?
Yeah, so it comes from that realization I had with myself when like 6 months went by and it felt like 1 month. And I thought, oh, this is terrifying. Like, why is time going so much faster right now? And it's because when you're in a new environment, your brain has to work in overdrive. So it's taking in so much information and time actually dilates. So I thought I found like a secret hack to life. I can live 10 lifetimes by always putting myself in new environments. However, I realized that routine and that efficiency that your brain compounds and learns over time is actually kind of necessary if you want to, accomplish anything and provide value to the world, like I said.
So first you travel a lot and then you miss like the need to contribute to do something valuable, right?
Exactly.
And then what was the moment that you were like, okay, I need to start something, and how did that develop itself?
Yeah, it happened kind of naturally. So now we go into the start of Raw Global, which is kind of what we're most known for in the entrepreneur space. So Raw Global started, I was living with my best friend, business partner at the time, Tommy. We were sitting by the pool one day. I was like super hungover and I was like, hey bro, I got this crazy idea. I think you're the guy that we can do it together. And he thought about it for a little bit. And then, the next month we were running our first trip. To start with, it was just super chaotic, super bare bones. We're trying to figure everything out. And now, fast forward 4 years, we've done like 26 trips all around the world. We've done huge, like $100,000 plus trips. We're doing our first Monaco event where we rented a super yacht. We just upgraded actually to a 120 meter yacht that we're parking trackside in Monaco for the biggest event of the year for the F1.
Almost, huh?
What's that?
That's almost.
Yeah, that's in like 20 days.
Yeah.
And we have another trip before that. We're going to Morocco. We're doing a music festival there. So it's just kind of like compounded. And it felt like honestly being strapped to a rocket, and our lives have transformed hugely. Yeah.
What is your, share me one of the stories that entrepreneur came in very burned out.
Yeah.
And then is now a totally different person. And you don't need to share names, of course, but more
sure.
About what issue was he facing and how is it now?
Yeah, for sure. I think I've seen it like time and time again. The trips are very like short, intense trips, and you can take a lot out of it. I've seen people transform, but the thing is they come in and then they leave, and then sometimes I don't see them so often, maybe once or twice a year. What we started in Bali by doing which is called Edge Global. It's designed to be basically the top founders in Bali. We want to collect them all, bring them together in a network. And now we're doing a lot of cool stuff together using the network, planning stuff. And that's a project we started at the end of last year. The best thing we do with Edge is we do a shared living compound. So we have a property here that we rent the rooms out. It's called the Clubhouse. People come in, they stay, and then they basically live in a high performance environment. So everyone in there is making like over $500,000 to $1 million to $10 million plus per year. And this is like that hyper effective environment I talk about, where you are grinding, you're motivated by the people around you, but then you have this efficiency that when you want to take your head out of work and your downtime is surrounded by other people that are also super intelligent, doing crazy things in life, and they're able to unlock things in your brain. So I think the shared living is like an absolute life hack. And I've seen the people transform from like coming into the house. Like, for example, I'll give you a concrete example. The last lock-in compound we did in Uluwatu, I think 4 out of the 6 guys hit record months, and they partied more than they ever had partied, and they were working less than they had ever worked. And yet they all hit record months. So I don't think that was a coincidence. I think there was like something about the energy, and we even that month, just as a joke, we put up a leaderboard. Everyone was writing every time they got cash collected. It was basically making good moves. And I think like the boys put up over 2.5 mil that month, which is crazy. And just that environment of like watching people become their best selves. And I've gotten a lot out of being in this environment as well. That would be the most rewarding part for me, because like all of these people that were strangers are now best friends because of this effect.
So they connect deeply fast.
Yeah. And there really is no substitute for that. The reason why I think Edge is working so well, and like people are constantly referring new people in, is because all of the networks, and there's a lot of these networks, they kind of exist all over the world. And I say when they exist everywhere, they kind of exist nowhere, because it's not like, at the end of the day, it's just a WhatsApp group chat or something like that. So it's not useful if like there's a community and they're doing a dinner in Dubai and then Spain, and you're like, what use is that for me in UK? Whereas like we just were taking the entrepreneurs in Bali, and we have like events going on every week. So like as long as you're in Bali, you know there's something going on. And I think by actually bringing it back to like human connection and not online connection, that's why it is so effective and people are getting a lot out of it. Yeah.
About human connection and AI, how do you see that now rolling? Because I saw one guy's deep in AI.
Yeah.
Like I'm curious how you see human connection and AI as of now, as many people have different opinions about it. It's still super new.
Yeah, I don't know what the long-term like dystopian, maybe we're all going to get nuked. I don't know about that. But in the short term, I'm very optimistic. And I think it's a pendulum, and the pendulum's swinging back really fast. So I think AI is going to be a very good thing for human connection. I think AI is going to basically automate most of the menial tasks that humans never, shouldn't have had to do anyway. So humans are going to get a lot of time back, and the ones that utilize AI the smartest are going to get the most ahead. And essentially, I think it's actually going to deepen human connection, because it's actually going to bring everything back to the real world. Like, have you heard of like dead internet theory? It's basically like with you've seen like AI create like crazy renders, crazy videos now, like photoreal videos. You can't tell if it's fake or not. And those things can just post endlessly on the internet. So when you can go on the internet and you can't tell what's real and what's fake, like what's the point of even being there anymore?
Yeah.
And I think that is, that's already happened with text. Next, it's happened with photos, and then it's going to happen with video, and then it's going to maybe even, I think podcast and long form is still kind of protected because at the end of the day, you can't really replicate this real human conversation for an hour. I think AI is a few steps away from that.
Yeah.
But I do think it's slowly going to erode a lot of the online world until the online world becomes less interesting and just kind of like, when you watch an AI video, it just feels like soulless.
You see it.
Yeah.
You can tell. It. We can tell. 40 plus, 50 plus people have a harder time telling it.
Yeah.
Because they're less, they're not very known.
Yeah.
In AI. But I can see it. And I'm like, "Dah." And it's happening a lot now.
Yeah. But it's going to get better and better. It's going to get harder to tell. And I think it's just going to turn people off ultimately.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like the human connection so AI went up but also, so AI developed like crazy, but human connection also became more people have the need for human connection. We've seen that
personally, like we operate these real life experiences. Yeah. People are hungry. Yeah.
More than ever, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting. Yeah. First your brain is like in that overdrive of like what is happening here. And then they realize it's not real. And then you have a real life connection and that beats everything.
Right.
Yes. So your trips. You do crazy trips, right?
Yes.
And tell me about the operating system. How do you come up with these ideas? I mean,
pretty
crazy stuff, right?
In a lot of ways, it's just like living out our wildest like dreams. Like whatever we dream up and envision, we have the network to pretty much pull off. I still say we got to go to space in 2 years. Like we're going to do a space trip, raw trip to space. But essentially, it's me and my business partner. He's a creative mind as well. We're both like not very business oriented. At least we weren't. We kind of got thrown in through doing these projects. And I guess if we're anything, we're just like dream makers, and we just have visions of what we want to do. And basically, how do the ideas come up? It's like me and a friend, or me and my business partner Tommy will be sitting there and we'll be like, "Why don't we do this?" And then we just do it. It's as simple as that. And fortunately we have like this strong network of guys that are just also wanting to do this kind of stuff.
And what do you believe is, you said I was not business oriented.
I just think like so many of the guys I hang around with are just like so intelligent when it comes to business. Sometimes I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall, but I hate sales. I hate selling people. I just focus on, we're quite good at content. So focus on marketing and product, and then the rest just kind of figure it out as we go. Yeah.
I recognize this.
Yeah.
For example, Steve Jobs, he is a very inspiring person and super creative, but I never felt he's like a sales guy. He just told with a lot of passion about what he created. And then he had a team to sell, right?
Yeah.
But still, sales is important. In a way, you do marketing, sales, whatever. Sales is maybe more direct, and marketing is another way to sell. Your marketing. What skill do you believe brought you like very far? A skill that you didn't have. What is very useful for entrepreneurs? They're building
a skill I don't currently have, or I didn't in the beginning. I had to develop.
You had to develop, because your creativity is natural to you.
Yeah.
Connecting is natural to you.
Yeah.
And seeing things, but then getting it into the real world, that's a different game.
Big time.
Many people are here with their ideas. It's too much and they don't do it. Freeze. So tell me about that. What skill helped you the most?
I think so I used to be a creative, like a filmmaker, and this is where I existed with a lot of burnout. And I can talk to creatives about this. They can really resonate with this. When you're a creative, you have a perfectionism and an attachment to your work, because you see the work as a part of you, and your ego basically attaches itself to that work, which means when you go to put it out in the world, you feel like you're putting in part of yourself because it's art. It came from inside you. So you feel like you're very judged. And this is what every creative deals with. It's like the creative procrastination, because you start to work on a project and you see it's not there yet, but you have a big, like, you want it to be really good. And then your ego can't grapple with that. So it leaves, it procrastinates, it creates something to distract itself. And then you have this project that you've been sitting on for week after week after week. And I had this as a filmmaker. I'd be editing for weeks and months and like waiting to do the perfect thing to put out. The thing that I loved when I finally released myself from that prison, as I kind of see it as, and went into entrepreneurship, I realized all that mattered was speed and like feedback loops. So like it didn't matter how perfect the product was. And when I was doing it as a business, my business, I didn't care so much as the result because it wasn't attached to my identity as a filmmaker. I didn't feel like I was being judged for that. It was literally like how fast, well, the thing I've learned time and time again is like the faster you move, the more successful you are. Like you just got to like speed is money, faster, faster, faster. That's the lesson I keep relearning. And it's just like, how fast can you go from inception of idea to implementation? That's your feedback loop. And then the more feedback loops you get, that's how you dominate. Like that's how you just move better, move faster because you've had more feedback loops. So yeah, the two biggest things is like speed and then like shortening feedback loops through speed. And that is what was very freeing as an entrepreneur because I just realized I just had to work faster. And, you know, it's like speed to action is all that matters. And like letting go of the creativity side was like very freeing as well.
So when is it good enough?
It's always good enough.
I like this. Exactly.
But it depends, you know, if that was true, I'm still not totally over it because we've had like a vlog that we're sitting on right now that we've been perfecting. I've been working with our new creative director like for the last 2 weeks, like, you know, making it right. So there is a part of me that's still very perfectionist, especially when it comes to the content. And I think it's been good because it's kind of protected our brand. And that's why I think our brand is kind of like elevated in some ways because people say, oh, the content's amazing or the brand's so cool. So there is part of me that needs to protect that. But at the same time, I'm relearning even in the creative fields of video production, I have to be faster. And I'm trying to teach that to our new creative as well, because he's obviously more of a creative mindset. He wants everything to be perfect.
Yes.
But he does get it, which is a really good sign.
Okay, good. So speed, micro speed, macro patience, right?
Yeah.
How did you learn all of this?
Just by doing it. You learn by feedback loops. That's the whole point, is that the more feedback loops you get, the faster you learn, the more wisdom you have to carry on to the next project.
Yeah.
So it's not about like getting the perfect knowledge, like the perfect time to start. There is no perfect time to start. The perfect time to start is right now. Like, you just got to move.
It's crazy that how many people procrastinate on things,
on everything.
Right? Yeah, it's the mind is a very interesting thing because like it wants to protect you, but it doesn't know that the thing you're building is not dangerous at all.
Yeah,
like,
it's very self-sabotaging.
Yeah. So more about you, like as a person, like what do you personally do when you're not building your business and not having trips? What is like a day in the life of Tom, what nobody sees? And then one thing that really grounds you, or really, because you said God and you probably believe in a higher power, right? And like, I'm curious about the person behind business, who's the person behind all of this?
I actually don't believe in God. I believe there's something I don't understand, but I think, I can't really put a word on it. But to answer your question, like, what does a day in my life look like? I'm super fortunate that I built a lifestyle business. So my time off is also my working time. So like, I've created environments around me. Right now we're living in the shared lock-in compound, the clubhouse of Edge. And my downtime is also when I go on a trip, for example, I am getting all my fulfillment. We're having so much fun. We're driving jet skis. We're doing, crazy sport activities, and we're in beautiful environments, but that's also my work. So my whole life has been kind of like rounded out to make even my downtime, like that brings me back my energy just to come back and then grind even harder. Yeah, I think that answers your question. I don't know. But what does a day in the life look like? This week I'm working very hard because I know it's my last window before getting out there. Because we're about to hit 3 trips back to back. It's going to be very intense, like Morocco, Monaco, Mykonos, back to back to back. And I try to, I built the Edge brand around the other 80% of the time where I'm not going on these intense trips. I'm working, trying to become the best version of myself, doing fitness. That's what the Bali-based Edge brand represents, is like, let's create a winning environment for everyone. And that's kind of how those two brands, like, for me, they're like two sides of the same coin that come together. Edge is about excellence. Raw is about like living your wildest experiences before you die. And they're kind of two sides of the same coin that come together to create like a perfect life.
Yeah, I was curious about the difference. So one of them is more like the trips, and the other one is like connecting with like-minded people. But you connect here also. But this is more literally going out there. This is more, I think, more together, more intimate,
more like cultivating an environment. It's just for guys. It's for like leveling up your surroundings essentially and becoming the best version of yourself ultimately. But Raw is like, life is short. We got to live while we can. We do a lot of party trips. We do music festivals. We do, like we'll rent a super yacht. Yeah. Fly in DJs, fly in models, do parties, and just kind of like go crazy. And the networking is there, of course, but it's also about like living your wildest experiences.
Check.
Yeah.
And what is something you believe or believed when you were younger, what people called you crazy about, or not agreeing at all?
When I was specifically when I was younger, I think when I was younger, I wish I had more conviction in my beliefs. Like clearly, I think there were certain aspects of my childhood that grounded me with a very good set of beliefs and seeing how the world works. I think when you're young and you're a teenager, you don't have the conviction that you do. The world needs to prove to you what you believe is right before you fully believe it yourself. Some people are super self-believing, and some people are crazy and what they believe is wrong, and some people are crazy in their beliefs, but then they prove the world right. Like we've seen that with a lot of like the top entrepreneurs, Elon Musk, those kind of people. But what did I believe that no one else believes? I think it comes back to like, I don't think anyone places enough emphasis on the anti-grind mindset than I do. I think even within the entrepreneur space, it's still very like grind first. So I would say that's like probably my contrarian belief when it comes to what people think is unusual. And I guess I can kind of prove them wrong by one, like showing them, like getting them out and be like, look, we pulled you into the clubhouse for a month and you hit a record month and you feel better and, you're surrounded and you have like 5 new friends. You kind of just have to like show people for them to really believe it and feel it. And and then you can ultimately just kind of live your own experience, and then people can be inspired or not. It's their life. They can do what they want.
Okay. And you do short trips.
Yeah.
And so what really changes on a fundamental level? Because it can be that it's short and then they fall back into their old lives. What makes it sustainable in your eyes?
Yeah, I think when you go on a trip like this, it is out of the ordinary. The idea is it's like a peak life experience. So most people that come on our trips have done things similar, but not in the same way that we do it. So it's really meant to like kind of like blow your mind. And then it kind of resets your baseline or your standard for life. Like I don't know if something happened with you, but like a lot of guys, I was talking to a guy this morning, he just bought his first business class ticket. It didn't make sense financially, but he's like, I need to reset my baseline so that I become the new identity of like, I'm the guy that flies business. And then reality catches up. That's kind of how manifestation works in a way. So going on these trips, it's like, you kind of like see what's possible. Like you set your baseline up here. And then when you go back to working or back to your regular life, I think you're like working harder because you remembered what you're working for. And that's ultimately what it's about. It's like reminding yourself why you're doing it. What's the point of working and accruing all this wealth if you're never going to actually live? So that's kind of the reminder.
Check. And you see people like on the long term really change their life and live a different life, like their paradigm shifted.
Yeah. I think I have seen that. Yeah, I think I've definitely seen people transform. It's hard to know because all these people just become your friends and they influence me in positive ways and I influence them, I'm sure, in some positive ways. And we've inspired a lot of people to do their own trips, which is cool to see. And that's kind of the principle as well. It's like surround yourself with the people that you want to be like. And then, you're the average of the people you surround yourself with. So that's a big principle in what we do as well. It's like proximity to the values, the people that have the values that you want in yourself. You surround yourself and you you naturally just reset yourself in your baseline, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it comes down to what you said about biology. If you spend so much time together, your neurons fire together. It's crazy, right? You're like nodding, and subconsciously it happens, but you're nodding, like we are nodding yes without even doing effort for it.
Yeah.
Because we agree on a value level.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would sit still and not. It's so interesting that your body is like telling if somebody's like into it or not. So
I'm curious now if I can flip it back on you for a second. So now that you've like seen a bit of my worldview, how I think, how I operate, how would you say that ties into what you do? Like, on what principles have I spoken about that you bring into your clients, and how do you work with your clients to make their transformation and make their lives better?
Yeah, so a lot comes down to they have a ceiling in their business. So they're making good money. Yeah. So money is not the thing. And with your guys also, it isn't. But they feel like either they're not expressing themselves. And like they're not expressing themselves. They're not putting themselves out there. They're not leading like they want to lead. They don't talk to the girl they want to talk to.
Yeah.
So they're really like insecure as a person, very successful as a business owner. They're very good in the game and the strategy and the rational. But if they look in the mirror, they see someone who's very small. And then they come to me and then they share like all their beliefs and limiting beliefs. And I have so much stress. I want to scale. And we discover like what is behind the curtains. Yeah. Like they feel stressed. They feel, small. And I discover like why and where does it come from? And then we rewire that in the subconscious mind, because it's like 95% of your behavior is subconsciously.
Right.
So we rewire like the big hard drive of your mind. So another program runs.
Yeah.
And so I do that in a few sessions. That's why hypnosis works like super fast.
Yeah.
And like a trip is like a hard, I want to say that your trips are a hard pattern interrupt.
Exactly.
Like, boom.
Yeah.
You can never look the same. Like people here in Bali, they're here for a few months. They never see life the same.
Exactly.
If you have good people around you, you can never go back like life is boring. The weather is shit everywhere, and they're not inspiring people. But
100%.
Here, the network is insane. I see.
And there's different ceilings that people have to break through at the different levels, and you're right. It resets your whole paradigm.
It really, really is. And then they go out there, lead their team better. They feel better. Like honestly, we have the same result.
Yeah.
But different, you do it
mechanism, I guess.
Yeah, like no, the way you work is like through trips and connect. But like I connect them with their nature and bring them back to what they really want and what you need to, because what you want and how you're programmed is often a big gap, and I close the gap.
Yeah,
the identity they see themselves as I need to grind, otherwise I'm not good enough. I think you hear it often. And then you show them, well, see those little kids playing. Maybe you should enjoy the moment more. And then they're like, fuck. But because they experience it and because they believe it with me deeply, they're going to live different. And then they're as a person, they feel good enough and they unlock their potential.
Yeah.
And then in their business, they grow. But I never talk about their business, always about them. And then their business grows. Like you don't help them in their business. No. You help them to be themselves more, right?
Exactly.
And then I see it. They make 3-5 times more money.
Yep.
But I didn't say you're going to make more money now. I just like remove the mental stuff.
Because it always starts with identity. It's always,
how do you see yourself?
You get exactly what you think you deserve.
Yeah, because I sense the energy with you. You're very like self-assured.
Okay.
You know, like calm, you know what you're doing. And I don't know if it's did it come natural to you, because you've traveled so much, you've spent so much time. What I see, the guys that spend a lot of time with themselves and nature, God, whatever you believe in, something bigger than you, they have a certain groundness and certainty and a self-assuring. So not confidence, like train on a few tricks, that people feel very attracted to.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. And that I think that's the biggest thing. But you have to know yourself. And if you do so many trips, if you spend so much time with yourself, man, so next thing, tell me about one of your hardest moments, challenging moments, because you had it when you're traveling and you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Big time. I mean, the worst weeks of my life were always, especially in the early stages when we were trying to bootstrap this thing. No one believed in us. No one saw the vision yet. We didn't have the content. We were trying to figure it out, and we were grinding, and we weren't doing it that effectively. We were, learning as we were going. So when we started, and What's the question again? I just blanked.
So. Yeah. Well, I blanked too because I think everything you were saying was very nice.
It was like when you...
Yeah, tell me about like a really challenging moment.
Yeah.
You've experienced in... because you spent so much time alone.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like one in particular, but...
That taught you a lot, like as if now.
I think the clarity or the lessons come on the other side of it. So I'll say like when we're trying to bootstrap it in the beginning, the worst weeks of our life were always the week before a trip because everything would go wrong. Like everything you could imagine, like I could get into it, but like, you know, entire flights to countries being sold out, but we've already paid for the accommodation there and all the money's on the line and then someone's dropping out and all of these things that can go wrong. And you're just in the stress and you just want to die. You just want to end the trip. You want to be out of it. But every single time, we pull it off, we don't sleep, we figure it out, and then we go on the trip and it's the worst week of my life and then the best week of my life every time. And it was like riding a roller coaster. It was like the most intense years of my life. And it was clearly hard to do. And I think that's why I think in the world, we probably only have one person that does the same thing as us. Like there's not really many competitors doing what we do. And I think what you probably teach yourself from that is, like, one, you can get through anything if you believe in it enough. And then the other one is just that, you know, that even in the lows, in the highs, whatever, it's all just like part of the journey. And what I've been trying to do and what I'm much better at now is leveling it out. So, you know, when you're really high, you know, you tell yourself like, there's that classic quote, it's like, this too shall pass or whatever. It's like, yes. It's like when you're really high, you're like, you know, you obviously enjoy the moment, but you don't overindulge it. And then when you're really low, you just go stoic with it and you come out the other side. And I think that, you know, those highs and lows of going through those experiences, ultimately what kind of grounds you as a person. Like you were making a comment that you think that I feel very grounded. I think it is just from world experience. Like you gain a silent confidence in yourself when you go out in the world and you do things. Like that's why I encourage more people to travel, more people to make stories. Like if you go out and do some crazy experiences and you bank up like 50 stories, the reason I can walk into a room with billionaires and like not think that anyone in the room is like above me is because I know, like, when it comes time, I've got a story to share that, you know, will engage them on a human level. And it's not so much about like, oh, he has this much in his bank account or whatever. Like at the end of the day, even at the highest levels in the, you know, the VIP access rooms, whatever, at the end of the day, people only care about what's in front of them right now. And you can often like share a story or get someone's attention by, sharing your lived experience and not trying to give them advice, because everything's very transactional sometimes. You know, can that person help me get ahead? If you tell a story, you're already giving value to everyone you meet. And by having like a whole bank of lived experiences and stories and different worldviews and anecdotes I've seen from around the world, I start to respect this hierarchy ladder that society creates less. Like, it is true, like if you understand status and how it works, there is kind of this like fake hierarchy, this ladder that society places, oh, he's up here and he's down here, whatever. And think about everything we do is kind of like climbing this ladder, right? It's like, get a bit more money, like, so you can, you know, do this and like have a successful business. We're all just like climbing status and chasing status, everything we're doing, like even right now, right? But I think where this comes back to what I said earlier about the 150 person tribe, the status ladder works perfectly in the tribe because there's 150 people and the chief's on top and the people that's not so useful are down the bottom, and you know, it orders itself. Everyone knows their place. But what you realize, we don't live in a normal world anymore. We're all connected through Instagram. Now the ladder, instead of being 150, is 10 billion. So like where everyone I know is already in the top 1%, and yet they're still climbing the ladder, tick, 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 tick. And it's because the human biology is evolved to always be climbing the ladder. But like, at what point does it break? Because do you really need to climb a 10 billion person ladder? So when I kind of see through the you know, the flaws of this quote unquote status ladder, you can start to detach yourself from it in ways where you can see it exists. You can see that people are status driven, but you don't have to respect it completely. Like I can be in that room and I don't think someone's better than me or anything like that. And what that does in turn is you carry yourself in a way that suddenly, because you're not buying into the status ladder, people will meet you and read your energy and think that you're suddenly way higher on the ladder, which is like counterintuitive. But it's an energy thing. And I think it's because of my upbringing, where I come from, I kind of just have a better understanding of what actually matters in life, I think. And that ties me to like a groundedness where, you know, I'm not so much, I don't respect as much this like the materialistic, you know, money chasing side.
Yes.
For me, it's more about, providing value, living a fulfilled life, living a purposeful life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting, especially because you really lived it.
Right.
And like in the first 7 years, your first program is written in your brain, in your mind. So you have a very good nature-based program, which is very natural to you, and also literally proven that it's good for you being in nature.
I think so.
And then you build the other years to build a worldly business.
Yeah.
No, it's true. Like in the, you know, Schwartz, the values of Schwartz.
Yeah.
And you have like, it is a thing that power and achievement, it's good to have it, but how you use it and why is,
and how you get it as well is very important.
Oh, yeah. So the why behind everything, that's what a lot of entrepreneurs I see miss. So they just do it for the sake of it, and then it's like fuck.
Yeah.
And they want to continue because it feels good, right?
Yeah. But you always ultimately pay the price. Always.
Yeah. And hard. Yeah. The burnouts are a hard price because then you have to stop and your whole identity collapses.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's a good, interesting view. Very interesting. I haven't met somebody that was one of the few, well, we were in my village, me and my brother were one of the few colored ones between a lot. You were the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting. That's very interesting to see. So, okay, we've been going very, very fast. We spoke a lot of, about a lot of great things. A pleasure. It goes very fast. For now, I want to ask you one more last question.
Let's do it.
Like, imagine you said you're going to space. I ask this question most of the time. I forgot it a few times. Is that imagine you go with your team to space, but you go with your best friend, and then everything that you shared, everything is gone, and you can only give like 2 advices to the people, entrepreneurs, to the world, that will be the last messages you will ever share. No book, no podcast, no nothing, no Instagram. What 2 things would you like to leave here as a message of Mr. Tom Strickland?
Okay, that is a good question. Good finisher. So if I could only share one message or 2 messages, it would be along these lines. It would be, I would say, don't chase material things, because anything that you gain materially doesn't really belong to you anyway. It's yours. You can put a watch on, you can wear it, but we're all going to die. We're all going to pass on. Nothing you own is really yours anyway. All that you really have is your experiences and your moments and your memories and the things that you've uniquely lived. All that we really have is the present moment. All you will ever have is the present moment and the moment that you're in. That's the things no one can take away from you. And everything else is noise and a distraction. So focus on experiences, focus on surrounding yourself with good people, and don't forget to live before you die. Beautiful. That was 1 or 2? I think it was kind of 2 baked into 1. I like it. I cannot disagree. I have to be very honest. It's a beautiful one. Yeah, this is a shared experience. No phone. It is. It was very enjoyable. Yeah. And then you feel very like connected to a new person that shares the same worldview as you. It's the best. We walk out this room and then be like, damn, what a day. Yeah. Honestly, and if you do this enough, then you'll learn by doing. And only one improvement I would do, I would fuck off these LED lights and I would do it on a beach. Oh, wow. We can do... Oh, the next episode will be at a unique place. There we go. We won't share, but our creative minds will give one. Okay. So... Maybe on a trip. Who knows? Thank you. Who knows? Thank you very much for sharing your story, your journey. Thank you, It was a pleasure. And thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And see you at the next one.